we will move on to the very interesting. First of all, no one will replace Sheila Jackson Lee. It is who will hold the seat of the 18th Congressional District of Texas, but no one can replace Sheila Jackson Lee, right? No one can actually do that. Let's talk about some of what has been talked about. I'm going to open this text. Let me tell y'all, my text messages have been going bananas. So here is the way that this will work. There will be, when someone passes away after the primary, right, but before the general election in the state of Texas, it's the precinct chairs of each party that get to choose who replaces that person on the ballot, right? So precinct chairs, Antonio Maldonado is one of them for the Garden Villas 0133 or something like that. I don't know. And there probably are some precinct chairs in the chat as well. These are people that are elected by their local party, be it Democrat or Republican. And so whoever the Democrat is that is nominated for that seat is who will hold that seat. They get to go on the ballot. And let me tell you, in the 18th Congressional District, Donald Duck could be on there and win. This can of HEB Nitro Brew coffee could be on the ballot and win. So basically, whoever this small group of people chooses is who will replace them. There will be a forum for the nominees on October the 10th. So they are moving really quick with this because today is October the 2nd, right? And basically the person who gets more than 51% of the precinct chairs gets to decide. And this is a very small group of people. This is like 100 people, 150 people. And so far we've seen this number of people that have announced. Go ahead and put that first person up there. I don't remember the order of them that we talked about before. Amanda Edwards. So this one is not surprising. Amanda Edwards, former city council member. She was an at-large city council member. She served one term, and if y'all remember, she decided not to run for a second term and instead ran for U.S. Senate. She raised 7 figures. She was not successful in that race, but she did build a lot of contacts. I can say that Amanda Edwards, younger voice, right? I can say if you were to Google AKA Alpha Kappa Alpha, right? This is the face that you get, right? This is what AKAs sort of look like. I'm not gonna say a lot because I don't want to get in trouble. My father's wife is an AKA. Carla Brown is an AKA. I know a lot of really cool AKAs, but she's got an amazing background, and she ran actually against Sheila Jackson Lee this last time around. Of course, as expected, Sheila Jackson Lee trounced Amanda Edwards. But here's the good thing about the way that Amanda Edwards ran that race. She never took it dirty from what I could tell. She never played dirty. She never got negative with that campaign, which of course allows her to still go into this race. Had this been a different race, had this been an actual race on the ground with all the voters of the 18th Congressional District, the voters getting to choose, I would say she would be for sure in a spot, one of the 2 spots for a runoff. However, I'm going to just guess, actually, July has told me there are about 200 precincts in CD18. Many are vacant without chairs. So think about that. So about 80 to 90 actual chairs will decide. 80 to 90 people will decide who will be the next member of Congress for the 18th Congressional District. Let's put that next person up there. I do not think that, because you have to think about who is a precinct chair. These are usually party loyalists, okay? I would say on the verge of cult members. I mean, these precinct chairs, Antonio Maldonado is one of them. And cult member kind of described. I'm kidding. Let's put that next picture up there. So I think Amanda would be great. I just don't think if I had to guess, if I had to bet, like if I had to put like my net worth at the roulette wheel, I would say I think she would be great. I just don't think that's where the precinct chairs would go. Next, Dr. Letitia Plummer, right there. If you could see Dr. Letitia Plummer, at-large city council member. And let me tell you this, out of the list, I've actually had one-on-one conversation with each of these people, right? I have worked with, in some capacity, each of these 4 people, and I have nothing. Well, I do have some negative stuff to say about a couple of them, and you'll see when I get there. But I will say that this lady right here, of those who have announced, or of those that have, I don't think she's actually announced. I think there is a sort of a group of people that are pushing her to do it. And I think she has said that she is considering it. Dr. Plummer, please do it. And here's why. If you know anything about my work, if you know anything about my work for police accountability, if you know anything about my work for like totally redefining the way we look at justice, Letitia Plummer has demonstrated what I think is necessary to, as close as possible, represent the 18th congressional district based on the void that is filled. And here's why I would choose her over, and again, I'm nothing against Amanda Edwards. I think Amanda Edwards is great, and if she wins, like, great. Like, I think in any of the 4 that we're going to talk about, I think any of them are fine. But here's why I like Dr. Letitia Plummer. She, if y'all remember when there was the talk about reallocating funds for the budget, she was the one that stepped out, right? I can also tell you that when Mayor Turner, when Sylvester Turner was mayor at the time, and he was putting together a task force, and for those of y'all that are in the comments and watched that and remember that, you'll remember that I didn't have very positive things to say about the task force, because task forces are usually where stuff goes to die, right? You put a little group together, they meet over coffee for a few weeks, everybody put their comments in the Google Doc, right? And nothing ever gets implemented. And by the time, and I think it was like 90 days of task force, nothing got done. Dr. Letitia Plummer reached out, and she was like, I want to put you on it. And I said, Dr. Plummer, now, you know, if you put me somewhere, you're not going to be able to call me and tell me to behave, right? Not that I'm going to be intentionally facetious or intentionally a table shaker. However, if a table needs to be shaken, I gotta shake it, right? And I will always be respectful. I will always keep it 100. I will never get personal. It's always on the facts, on the politics. And yeah, like I told her, like, I don't want you to nominate me and then like I'm on the task force and you get an email that I was shaking things up. She was like, no, that's why I want to send you. Now, of course, anybody who knows anything about politics knows Sylvester Turner was not going to let me be on that task force, right? I'm part of the turn up crew, right? And so, as expected, there was a different list of people. But I will say Letitia Plummer has been consistent, right, in reaching out to not only my organization, but a lot of other organizations. And I think if the Democratic Party wants to like really move forward and excite things, and I think if the city of Houston and Harris and Fort Bend counties want to really walk the walk, like Sheila walked the walk, I really love the idea of Congresswoman Letitia Plummer. She's going to be able to raise a lot of money. She's already demonstrated she's great at engaging orgs and people. Absolutely. And here's the thing. Let me tell you something. It's not her sending a staffer to call. She will call you, right? And that is 100%, I will say, reminiscent of the Congresswoman who would call you from an unknown. Raise your hands in the chat if you've gotten that unknown caller at 1 a.m. and you knew what it was about before you answered it, and you answered it, and it was the Congresswoman, and you did what she said, and everything sort of worked out. So that is Councilmember Letitia Plummer, who I think could like really do some things. Let's put the next contestant up. Mayor, the second black mayor of the city of Houston, Mayor Sylvester Turner. I first met Sylvester Turner when he was Representative Turner. Jeff Siptak, who worked for him, is a good friend. I will say Auntie Mary Benton, who is the current press secretary for Mayor John Whitmire, was actually a very, I would call him a mentor up until a point. I actually remember being at one of these churches. I want to say it was like Mount Hebron or Greater St. Matthews or something like that. And this is when he was still a representative. And Shakira and I were like, this was 10 years ago. And we had just started Houston Justice. And he had given some really good advice. And he sat down with us and he talked about how he ended up creating an organization because I think the existing organization didn't want it. So it was really reminiscent of like what we were going through at the time. I will say this. As I said before, I think any of the four, and that includes Mayor Sylvester Turner, would be great for this seat. Amanda Edwards, Letitia Plummer, Sylvester Turner. However, at what point do you say, I've done a lot. I've been mayor of the fourth largest city in the nation for 4 years, and it would be great to let somebody else do this. It would be great to start a nonprofit and use my connections and my know-how and my network to push others forward, right? It would be great to mentor the next generation so that when my time is up, there is a cadre of potential replacements who are prepared to take my place. Wouldn't it be awesome to go and be a guest lecturing professor at Texas Southern University or Rice? Go to Rice. Rice took Anise Parker. Like, that's what you do. Okay, for those of y'all that are in politics, you already know this. For those of y'all that are not, here's the way it kind of works. If you're the press secretary for the White House, it's understood if you're under a Democratic president, you're going to get a show on MSNBC. If you're under a Republican president, you're going to get a show on Fox News. That's just the way it works, right? If you are mayor of Houston, Rice has a ton. The Kinder Institute, they do great work. Go do that. Please, sir, go do that. Now, granted, yeah, look at Rice took Judge Ed Emmett. Yes, Rice took Judge Ed Emmett. Dr. Candace Matthews said no to TSU. No TSU. Yes, go to Rice. Go to Rice. Put on an annual symposium. Go on a speaking tour. I can help. I speak nationally. I know some. I will put your calendar together. Please. I'm asking Sylvester Turner to pull a Joe Biden and step aside. Because here's what is about to happen. And again, y'all, it would not be the end of the world, okay? It would not be the end of the world here's what's about to happen. Former Mayor Sylvester Turner is about to lock this up. Okay? It's a done deal. It's a done deal. No one has more genuine relationships with people. Everybody's got a Sheila Jackson Lee story. Everybody's got a Sylvester Turner story. And I think it is genuine. I think he has a way of communicating that is bar none. I think Sylvester Turner is on fire. And I mean, you talk about code switching. I've heard him on the floor of the House, of the Texas House of Representatives, at the Capitol. And I've heard him at somebody's auntie's funeral. And I've heard him at a rally. And I think there are very few people as charismatic, as enthusiastic, and I think it is all genuine. Don't get me wrong. And I think if this race were to happen today, whether it be if it was the precinct chairs, I think he's got it locked up. I think if it was an actual race, I could see him going into a runoff with Amanda Edwards, and I could see him taking it. I could see him taking it either way. Again, with all due respect, and I have nothing, I disagree with some of his policy stances and some of the things that he did as mayor, but he is not a horrible politician. He's not a horrible person. And I think if this is where we end up, that's fine. Right? I think that's fine. July says, what if, let me tell you something. If Erica announces that she's running, that's it. That's it. I will do everything that I can to help Erica. And I think Erica Lee, I think Erica Lee would be an amazing member of Congress. I think it is really early to expect, and y'all, I know Congresswoman, yes, a huge statue of a woman, right? In every sense of the word, but 4 days, that's got to be hard on the family. It's got to be hard on the family. This is being recorded, so I'm telling y'all right now, when it's time for me to meet my maker, okay, I don't want a long service. And I don't, in fact, can we just have an open bar at insert place here, but a restaurant, and just do that. But no, I think that was a lot. Ann Rosenwinkel, consistent. Let me tell you something. I'm going to take a little detour. When you talk about allies, Ann Rosenwinkel consistently shows up, pulls out her credit card, donates, and love you, Ann. But back to Sylvester Turner, the mayor Sylvester Turner. I don't think it would be horrible. I'm just hoping on behalf of the next generation, not even that. Here's what's bad. I'm 37. Okay. You don't see any gray in my beard because Corey Barksdale does enhancements. So he puts a little bit of dye on my beard to knock out the gray so it can look good for y'all today. But I have gray in my beard and I'm 37. I'll be 38 next month. And yes, I will be hosting something really cool. I haven't figured out what this is going to be, but we're not the next generation. The next generation should be the 17 and 18-year-olds. But see, we've got a problem. We've got a problem not only in Harris County, Houston, not only in the state of Texas, across the United States. Something's clogged up, right? You ever eat something and it just doesn't just doesn't pass through? Something is clogged up, and we need the flow to happen, because until some people, and I'm not saying move out of the way and start smelling like mothballs and playing bingo and doing the line dancing at the senior center. You don't have to do that, but there is another level for you. So if you go do that, then the 40-year-olds, the 50-year-olds can do that, and then it'll make room. Because here's what's happening. Let me tell you what's happening. We have people, and y'all, the number is that I'm surprised nobody's going to call. Please call in, right? I had to pull a Jeb Bush. Please call. But what's going to happen, we're going to consistently have to swoop in and do some last minute stuff to like clear to put some people in. And I think it's better if go ahead and call again, Antonio. Do it. Go ahead and if it'll be that much easier. The last person. Let's go to this last page. I also think that Sylvester Turner would raise a whole lot of money. I think he would be great in that seat. And lastly, City Council member Dwight Boykins. Councilmember Dwight Boykins, who ran at large and then ran for District D. I want to say he was elected to Houston City Council District D in 2013. He was in a contentious runoff with one of my favorite people, Assata Nicole Richards, one of my favorite third wardians. Assata Nicole Richards of the Sankofa Institute. And he ended up winning that seat. I think he did great. I would consider him also one of my mentors. In fact, if you do a Google search right now for Darrell Douglas on like YouTube, like if you did a search, you'll see where I interviewed him in 2013 for that seat. I reached out. I was like, hey, I'm doing this YouTube thing. Can I come and interview you? And he was like, sure, right? Went to Dallas Jones's office at the time. That's who ran his campaign, and Elite Change LLC, and did the interview. And Dwight Boykins, as a matter of fact, I just called Dwight Boykins maybe a month ago for something, and he picked up and he answered, and I think he would be a phenomenal member of Congress. Oh, they're saying that it's busy when they call in. It's going straight to voicemail. I don't know if in a backstage in the green room we can make that happen. Tina Kingshill says, yes, we're not preparing. Oh, try again. They say try again. Yes, we're not preparing the next generation. At some point, the old guard needs to impart their wisdom, then go home and play with their grandkids. Play with your grandkids. You know what? That's part of what's wrong with society now, right? Because growing up, I actually spent time with my grandparents. We played outside. I was just having this conversation the other day, and I was saying in the Black community, we used to have family reunions. I remember when I had to be like 10 or 11 years old, and on my father's side of the family, we used to go to Huntsville like every year or every other year. But I just remember it was way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this was country. And I remember the first year that they actually let me play at the adults domino table. And looking back at it, they let me win. They were building my confidence. And yes, absolutely. Yes, thumbs up to that. We need more of that in the community, and I think Dwight Boykins would be great. I think he'd be a great member of Congress, and I think he's got a lot of relationships. A lot of people don't know this, but when Dwight Boykins, even while he was on city council and even afterwards, Dwight Boykins is a pickup truck kind of guy. He's out cutting seniors' yards. That's the stuff that gets you to win a seat like this, right? Like, it's those relationships that really make a pretty big difference. July says, a young man I've been calling congressman since the first day we met. He's smart, he cares, and he would galvanize people across generations. Who are you talking about? July? And also, Adrian Bell. Let me tell y'all something. We need to send Adrian Bell to Congress, too. She's not in the 18th. She's not in the 18th Congressional District. But she is running as well. Dennis Ray Griffin. Amazing. These are the people who we need to elect, because here's what's going to start happening. Let me tell you something. If you know me from 15 years ago, well, okay, no, not 15. 15 would be 2009. Even 2009. If you know me 2009, 2012, I was way more active in politics. And then somewhere around 2018, I was like, let me get out here and make some money. Let me go and sell some let me go and buy and flip some houses, right? And I'm not using mortgages, right? All my stuff is cash buy, right? Yes. so I don't owe no mortgages on the houses that I own. And I said, let me go make some money. I'm gonna stop going to these little meetings because they won't get out of the way, and we can't let that happen too much more often. Antonio, call back. They're telling you to call back. But absolutely, I think Dennis Ray Griffin would be great. Let's look into some of these comments. Christina Morales is running. Christina Morales, the state representative, does she have to give up her seat to run? I mean, I don't really know Christina Morales, but good luck. Good luck. You're gonna need it with this list, Christina. This list, this four. All right, Antonio. Thoughts?
What's up, Mr. Douglas?
Antonio Mama, what are your thoughts with these races? And do you have
I'm partial
okay
to Christina Morales just because I'm a Latino, but I'm not in the district. But I will say this. Whether she wins or loses, I'm happy that she has announced and that she's going to run because of the demographics of the district.
Okay.
District 18 is not all black like people think.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of everything. There's a little bit of white. There's a little bit of Asian. But it is predominantly African-American, Black American. But it is also predominantly mixed with Latino, Hispanic, Chicano, Tejano people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be very interesting.
Do you know, Antonio, is your precinct in the 18th, or are you in Congresswoman Garcia's district?
Neither. I'm in Al Green's district. I got redistricted. My congressional district was Sylvia Garcia.
So they got this all mixed up.
My commissioner was Rodney Ellis, which is now Adrian Garcia. I'm in precinct 2 now for commissioner. And Sylvia Garcia was my congresswoman, but now I have a congressman, which is Al Green, which he's a great congressman. I love Congressional District 9, you know, and I think Al Green is a great congressman. And I love Sylvia Garcia as well.
Yes.
But Christina Morales, like I said, I love the fact that there is a Latina running in that race.
Did she actually announce? When did she announce?
She announced today via Facebook.
Okay.
She direct messaged me and other precinct chairs.
I see it.
And she has announced. It was also on the Channel 11 News.
Wow. You're absolutely right.
So I'm very proud of her, whether she wins or loses. I think that there should be a Latino in every single election.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, for our population to be, I think we are almost 60% in the city of Houston. I'm guesstimating; these are not accurate numbers, but we are the majority in the city of Houston and in Harris County. Yet we are underrepresented in everything. We hardly have any Latino judges, and the ones that we did have got voted out. You know, so, you know, I'm glad to see that the sleeping giant is waking up, and that is the Latino population. As a Hispanic, Latino, Chicano, Tejano activist, she's gonna. I think she would do great to be a congresswoman. Will she win? I don't know because I mean, you got great candidates like Amanda Edwards. You've got Letitia Plummer. I love me some Letitia Plummer. You cannot say nothing bad about Letitia Plummer to me. I love me some Amanda because Amanda has the will to serve. She's like the little choo-choo, you know. I think I can. She's run for a lot, you know, and you know, hopefully her heels won't run down after this election. Who knows? Maybe she will be the next congresswoman. It would be great since she does have the experience and she did start out. Mayor Turner, you know, he has the experience serving, you know, in the House and serving as mayor. He would be a good candidate. And I say that lightly and loosely. He would be a good candidate. Don't know if he would be a great congressman like Craig Washington.
I think he would be. Like, I don't think, like, my point to him wasn't that I didn't think that he could do it. Not only do I think he can win, I think he would actually do a great job. I just think sometimes you give it to somebody else. Like the other day,
yeah, exactly.
You know, I was offered a contract to do some stuff, to do some work, and I was like, you know what? I would love to take this, but I know who could really gain and learn from this and who this could elevate. And I think more people need to do that, you know?
I think that this position requires somebody who is experienced and seasoned.
Mm-hmm. Let's put that list up. Let's put that new photo up of everybody. They're about to put up can we make it a little bigger? So these are candidates for the 18th. This is from, looks like Channel 13 probably, because they use that blue schematic. So we have 6 candidates. We have Amanda Edwards, who we've talked about. We have Sylvester Turner. We have Dwight Boykins. Why are y'all making this so hard? Jarvis Johnson
is going to be very hard.
Jarvis Johnson is amazing as well.
Yes, he is.
Let me tell you, Jarvis Johnson's every session, not only session, but even in the off season, his mother is amazing. Oh my God.
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo. Let me tell you, not the Coleman out, the different Miss Cleo. Cleo Johnson. Let me tell you, she is the real deal. She answers the phone. She's an organizer. She is on the ground. I think he would be great. And wouldn't that be a story?
Yes, it would.
He runs for state senate and is eclipsed by a mere 7 or 8 votes. He gave up his state rep seat to run for because you can't run in both, right? And then to become the next congressman for the 18th congressional district. I think this list that y'all are looking at, there's not a bad word that I can say about any of them. Literally, my points.
No, they're all great.
Yes,
but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that hands down, it'll be Turner and one of the other candidates in a runoff. Mm-hmm. But which one? It could be Plummer. It could be Amanda. Mm-hmm. It could be Christina. It could be Jarvis. Mm-hmm. You know, they're all wonderful candidates. Even Dwight. I love Dwight. Dwight was a great council member.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And all of them are great candidates. I mean, it's wonderful to see all of them stepping up. But I want to talk about Isaac Martin. Mm-hmm. Isaac Martin, I don't know his direct position, but if you know Isaac Martin is a young Gen Zer. He is vocal, opinionated. Mm-hmm. He has fresh, new ideas, you know, and he worked hard for the Congresswoman.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
It would be nice if he would throw his name in. Would he win? Most likely not, because people want somebody who is experienced and seasoned.
But Antonio, I was just giving this advice to someone who a young woman who's got a huge future, who was supposed to join me today, actually. She's got a huge future. Okay. She asked me if I thought that she should run because she wanted to throw her hat in. And this is what I told her. I said, at best, you win, right? At worst, it was the greatest job interview for this. And I mentioned Joaquin Martinez, who, if you remember, Joaquin ran, if you remember, I forget the state senator's name, who passed away in 2012 or 2011. He ran
for Senate District 6 Senator.
SD6, yeah.
For Mario Gallegos.
Mario Gallegos passes away, and Joaquin enters his name. He did not win, but everyone noticed him. Everyone noticed him.
Yeah, everybody noticed Joaquin.
And I think that, you know, he went from running for that seat to eventually working for a council member, to becoming chief of staff for a council member, and he's now a council member, right? So I think, you know, for those, and then the next piece of advice that I gave to her, and that's for anyone that's listening, if Barack Obama had listened to advice, right? If Sheila Jackson Lee, when she first ran, had listened to other people's advice, she would not be, neither of them would have won, right? So that's got to be a decision that you make, and you have to think about the long game in it. I see Pedro Valencia saying, if I lived in the 18th, Plummer would be my choice. Unfortunately, I see a Turner Boykin runoff. Here's the thing, Pedro. There's a small group of people. So I talked about this earlier, but there are more people on now, so we'll explain it again. It's actually a small group of precinct chairs. There are maybe 80 or 90 or so. July McShay, who's a professor, she's in the comments, and she mentioned the exact number. A lot of these seats are open. You can actually become a precinct chair if that spot is open, right? It's too late now for this race, but that small group of people will choose who replaces Sheila Jackson Lee on the ballot. And whoever's on the ballot that's a Democrat is going to win, right? Like my iPhone, you put my phone on the ballot and it would win in November. So,
but Darrell, not to interrupt, but the governor just called a special election, and he's having it on the same day that we're voting.
Well, but here's the thing.
Other elections.
So there are two things that are going to happen. To replacing Sheila Jackson Lee on the ballot, which is the election for the next 2 years, will happen by precinct chair. Now, the governor just announced a special election to complete her term on November the 5th. So here's what's about to happen. You're going to have a race on November 5th to complete her term, which ends in January. Right? Am I making sense? Right. So there's going to be the race on November 5th, and y'all know it's going to be a runoff, right? So the runoff is going to be in December, and then that person is going to serve from like December 8th to January whatever.
Right.
It's going to be a month.
It's going to be what? 6 weeks, a month?
Not even. It's going to be maybe a month. So that's not the person that's going to be the Congressperson.
Yeah,
and I'll give you. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Do y'all remember that Gene Locke actually replaced Franco Lee before Senator Elliott? Right? You don't even remember it, right?
So he got appointed, didn't he?
Yeah, he was appointed, yes, by the commissioners. But what the point that I'm making there is he served in the interim. And it was Rodney Ellis who actually took the 4 years, right? So it's who the precinct chairs choose that will take the 2 years. And anyone, if you, I know the politicos, I'm preaching to the choir, but if you do not know, it is almost an insurmountable task to take down an incumbent. Not impossible, but whoever gets on the ballot, you got 2 years to go to dinners, baby showers, fish fries, backpack giveaways, to make proclamations, to speak from the floor. In 2 years, you got to run against that, right? And absent.
That was the case.
Go ahead.
That was the case with Penny Morales Shaw. Remember, former HISD trustee Anna. I can't think of her last name. I think it was Eastman.
Yes.
She got the nomination, and she was the incumbent for about 2 weeks.
Well, so it was,
and Penny Morales Shaw,
actually ran and won. Well, yes, Penny Morales Shaw beat her, and that was a nail biter as well. But you're right, very similar situation. She got to serve the duration of the term, but she didn't actually serve the next time. So they did say, and it's been Adrian Bell who's been keeping me up to date with all of this. There's going to be a forum on August the 10th where the nominees, location unknown, supposed to be open to the public, and the vote will actually be on October the 13th. Right?